South Africa is considered to be among the most beautiful countries in the world, and we have among the highest levels of mineral wealth on the planet. So, why is it that so many of our people still struggle in poverty and hopelessness? Well, there are many reasons, but one of them, and the one I'm going to talk about in this video, is how South Africans are overly emotional. What I mean by this is that the reason that politicians and their families have been able to loot this country for 30 years is not that they are super geniuses with minds on a much higher plane than the rest of us. No, for the most part, they have average intelligence or even below average, listening to some of them speak on TV. The reason that politicians have been able to maintain this status quo, where they loot public funds and never face any consequences for doing so, is that they have become very skilled in the art of emotional manipulation. Our politicians know that all they need to do is to give South Africans something to fight about, and we will be so focused on how much we hate each other that we won't notice all the crime that they are busy doing. When I say South Africans are overly emotional, I mean all of us, including myself. There are so many problems in this country that my natural instinct for a long time was to find someone or something to blame for the things I didn't like about what happened here. But I realized, and I hope that you will too, that simply shifting the blame for your problems onto something or someone else doesn't solve anything and just keeps you stuck. Now, there are certain things I want to talk about that relate to this. Obviously, apartheid and its legacy are a big political chip that the ANC and other political parties use to keep black people angry and divided from fellow citizens of other races. And if we are ever to progress beyond that and actually have a country worth living in, people need to find a way to make peace with the fact that what happened happened. I am not saying simply get over apartheid, because its legacy still has lasting effects on many South Africans to this day. But for example, the other day in my comments, I had a guy show up and accuse me of being in favor of slavery or somehow excusing it, even though neither he nor I were alive when the institution of slavery was practiced. And I don't think that South Africa had slavery in the same way as other places in the world did, such as the United States. Nonetheless, even if slavery had been a prominent feature of the South African past, none of us were ever slaves. Now, you can make the argument that for blacks living under apartheid, it was similar to being a slave. That argument can be made. But still, I was born in 1990, so I was 4 years old when apartheid ended. I had no hand in it, and I do not support it. However, it is very clear that the ANC for the past 30 years has overemphasized and overplayed the role of apartheid in shaping modern South Africa. And they have done this for their own benefit. Now, as always, when I criticize the ANC and its splinter parties like the EFF or the MK, someone will no doubt pop up in the comments to tell me, ah, you're a DA supporter. The DA can't govern this country. The DA doesn't care about poor black people. So let me talk about the DA a little bit. I am not a DA supporter. I have voted DA in the past, but I was never a blue shirt wearing, flag waving, Helen Ziller loving DA member. No. And I can understand why many black people dislike the DA. They have a terrible problem with public perception because even as a white person, I can see how the leadership of the DA, when they speak publicly, often come across as though they are talking down to or patronizing black South Africans. Even if they don't mean to do this, even if they genuinely believe that what they say is good, the fact remains that they are terrible with regard to public perception because they do come across as arrogant and superior. I guess what I'm saying is that if we are ever to progress as a nation, black, white, Indian, colored, everything in between, we need to stop being governed by emotions and make decisions based on logic and reason. And as I said, I'm not just talking about black South Africans being overly emotional. As much as we can complain and point to people like the EFF who love to go to shopping malls and riot outside of brands that they've decided are racist, white South Africans are just as quick to boycott or slander a company if they feel that they as a group have been insulted or mistreated. So white South Africans have exactly the same problem of being governed by their feelings, not by the facts. And this is a problem that we all need to overcome if any of us hope to see a better South Africa in the future. As always, I hope that these thoughts are of some use to you. Look after yourselves, take care of each other, no matter your race or identity, and for now, farewell.